Greetings, Pokefans! Michael here. For the most part, Pokemon is a fun and family-friendly franchise. All the games are rated E and dark themes are very seldom. However, there are some things in Pokemon that are nothing short of disturbing. So today, I'm going to be discussing some of the most unsettling things in Pokemon, and I brought along Dobbs to help out. Dobbs is another Pokemon YouTuber who does top 10s, theories, and gameplay videos, and his channel is exploding right now. Here are 2 videos of his that I would recommend you check out, and we actually did a video on his channel called 10 Things You Remember Wrong in Pokemon, so you should watch that video after you finish this one.
What is going on, guys? This is Dobbs here, co-hosting another Pokemon video. And in this video, Michael and I will be discussing 10 disturbing things in Pokemon you probably didn't notice as a kid. And even though you may know some of these facts, there's going to be that one that you just didn't know about that's going to completely freak you out.
These are in no particular order, so without further ado, let's get started. If you watched the original season of the anime as a kid, you probably loved it. I sure did. But if you go back and watch it when you're older, there's actually lots of stuff in there that's super weird, disturbing, or just plain absurd that you may not have picked up on when you were younger.
One of the most creepy moments in the anime was the entire Sabrina story arc. Sabrina's psychic abilities are so powerful that a super creepy manifestation of her childhood self clings around her at all times. But it gets even worse. This little girl is supposed to be the representation of Sabrina's happy emotions, and that is just disturbing.
Not only that, but Sabrina actually turns Brock, Misty, and her own mother into dolls. And in the Tower of Terror episode where Ash goes to catch a Haunter just to battle Sabrina with, Ash actually dies. These ghost Pokemon take his and Pikachu's souls out of their bodies. What?
There are many Pokédex entries that make little sense, but there are some that are just downright creepy, and here's one that you probably didn't notice as a kid. Hypnose Pokédex entry states, it carries a pendulum-like device. There once was an incident in which it took a child away it hypnotized.
Are you kidding me? A Pokemon actually kidnapped a child? I don't even want to think about what happened to the kid. That is super messed up. You know, let's move on. If you played the Gen 2 games, chances are you did some poking around the ruins of Alph. It's a bit of a quirky place, but nothing about it is particularly disturbing or creepy. That is, until you turn on your radio.
If you tune your radio to channel 13.5, you'll hear a very disturbing transmission. You'll hear distorted unknown cries and deep bass frequencies. Here, check it out.
Pretty freaky, right? The frequency is in Heart Gold and Soul Silver too, but it's not nearly as disturbing as it was in Gen 2. GSC is nightmare fuel.
Many people aren't familiar with the Pokemon Adventures manga. It's an aspect of Pokemon that's very different from the anime or the games. And let me tell you, it is much darker. For example, during the battle with Koga, in the Red, Green, and Blue chapter, Green's Charmeleon actually cuts Koga's Arbok in half.
But one of the most disturbing pieces comes from the Yellow chapter. In it, the Elite Four are actually the antagonists, and they're plotting to kill literally every person in the world except for themselves to make a world just for Pokemon. Yes, I know that Team Flare was going to do the exact same thing, but when it's the Elite Four doing it, who are the most powerful trainers in the region, supposed to be role models and leaders, it's just way more unsettling.
Generation 1, in my opinion, had the best Pokemon sprites, but some of them were quite questionable, because you had the good, the bad, and the disturbing.
Golbat's tongue needs to calm down, Mew looks like he's on meth, and Exeggutor... I don't even know what to say. Another Pokédex entry that's pretty messed up is Parasects. Pretty much all of them discuss how the mushroom has overtaken the host's body, leaving the original creatures just a vessel for the mushroom's preferences.
It's pretty unsettling to say the least, but especially when you notice that Paras-friendly eyes have transformed into empty, soulless balls of white. So in reality, when you own a Parasect, you don't really own a Pokemon, you really own a fungus controlling a Pokemon, which is quite disturbing.
Remember what I said about the original season of the anime being pretty weird and absurd? Well, a shining example of that is the Ghost of Maiden's Peak episode. In it, Brock and James fall for the ghost of a long-dead, beautiful girl who's been waiting for her love to return from war, but never does.
But things get weird when the ghost turns out to be a Ghastly that can actually speak English. But that's not all. This Ghastly creates all sorts of weird mirages, such as a mongoose with a gas mask, a giant mousetrap, and even a Venusaur Blastoise hybrid, which is called Venustoise.
The entire episode is just disturbing and bizarre.
But if you thought Hypnose Pokédex entry was disturbing, well, you're in for a treat. Shedinja. In Pokemon Ruby, the Pokédex entry states, it is believed that this Pokemon will steal the spirit of anyone peering into the hollow body from its back. So that means Shedinja can actually steal people's souls.
I remember being a kid and using it in battle, and then seeing the hole in its back after I read that Pokédex entry. Didn't use it anymore.
In the Pokemon anime, there's a banned episode that involves James wearing an inflatable suit. And, well, yeah. This one is disturbing at a different level. I think if I saw this as a kid, I would have been scarred for life.
The last thing we have on this list, and in my opinion the most disturbing, comes from Pokemon the first movie. In one of the opening scenes, Mewtwo wakes up for the first time and meets the scientists that created him. He becomes angry pretty quickly, realizing that they care nothing for him. He then proceeds to cause severe damage to the lab, and then the lead doctor delivers that chilling, famous line. "We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon, and we succeeded." And then Mewtwo blows up the entire lab, literally killing everyone on that island except for himself.
Mewtwo actually murders at least 10 people, and while they probably weren't as good of people, it is still a pretty shocking thing to see in a Pokemon movie, especially when it's meant for 10-year-old kids.
I didn't think much of it when I was a kid because I didn't realize what was happening, but now that I'm older and watching it again, holy crap! Mewtwo killed people! That's not something you really see in the Pokemon world, and in my opinion, it's pretty freaking disturbing. So there we have it. Those are 10 disturbing things in Pokemon you probably didn't notice as a kid. I want to thank Dobbs for doing this video with me and being so awesome, so be sure to go check out his spectacular channel and the video that we did over there. 10 things in Pokemon that you remember wrong. I may be a massive Pokemon nerd, but there are even some things on there that I didn't get right. What did you think of this video? Do you agree with our list? What are some other things in Pokemon you think are disturbing? Let me know in the comments below! And if you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, you should definitely subscribe for more fun Pokemon content of all kinds. Alright, that's all I have for now, so until next time, Pokefans, go to catch them all!